Hey everyone, let's get our mixed media messiness on again. So I'm just using the acrylic paint that we got in the October kit, and I'm just using a brayer. Steph did sell these at some stage. I'm not sure if she still has any in the shop, so check out the Kitaholic Kits shop online there if you want to see if they've got it. If not, give Steph a message. Maybe she can organise that for you. And I thought I'd just go with pink for this layout. Just a cute little photo selfie of my son and my eldest son and myself. And I really love these stickers, those colourful ones with the cats and the words and all these kind of cute things. So I delved into that one and pulled out the one that says enjoy right now, or enjoy the now. And I've got that sitting on some plastic so that I can move it around. Going to work on some layering. I don't want to muck around too much with the background or with what's going on in this layout. I thought I'd have just a simple cluster. So I'm just going to have one little base here. I've got the photo mat on, like I printed it with a white background, so I've cut that and kept some of that white border. And I'm just giving a full mat with this floral piece. And then I'm going to use this print with the text print on it. Now the good thing about using the 6x8 papers is that the print on them is small, so you can see some of the detail, rather than if it's big it sort of loses its the detail when you're matting like this. So ripping the bottom edge just because I thought it'd be something fun to have going on, and I'm just going to tidy up those edges. And then last I'm going to mat it with this pinkish mixed media-ish paper, pattern paper. So I'm going to have it layered underneath the ripped edge so that it's a straight edge, but it's not fully covering that ripped edge on the bottom. So that it just adds a little bit of a layering different and texture to it, rather than it being a full blown thing. So on it goes. I have dried this bit where I've braided it. I've mostly dried it, and I'm just going to work out what else I'm going to go put on this layout. So all I got so far is photo with layers, the gel, the paint that I braid on there, and then that thicker sticker thingamajig. So I'm going to pull out a doily out of my collection, and I'm pulling out some pink tissue paper. I'm really going heavy on the pink in this layout, but if you seen the little preview video layout picture, then you'll know that it didn't stay entirely pink, but it was still heavy pink. So on it goes. I don't know, I forgot to tell you, the first layer I used double-sided tape on the pattern paper, and then the rest I used just normal double-sided tape, so that the photo's up off top of the layers, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to use that ripped edge of the tissue paper to have it hanging out. I like the way it was ripped more to the right, and the text piece of paper is ripped more to the left, so that gives it a bit of interest to the layering behind. Now just sticking down this tissue paper onto the doily, and then I'm going to stick it straight onto the mixed media background. I did toy with using the stencil, the heart stencil that we got in the collection, or the kit this month, and I completely forgot about the other two stencils. I must pull them out and put them in my top of my really useful box. This is what happens when we get so many goodies in our kits that I sometimes forget what we got, but it will come out. And moments like this I remember. To get a bit of paint on my photo, so just licking my finger and wiping that off my face. And I'm going to end up putting this title down here. I think it worked better. I wanted something up the top there because you could see a little bit of the number of the date from the original photo. So it's obviously, my son is, how old is he? 13 and a half now. So this photo was taken, probably 13 years and a couple of months ago. So back then our camera was pretty CRAP, and it was one of those ones that had the date on it, and wasn't in on the right date, I'm pretty sure, or at least might have started off as, but then it once the batteries died and all that kind of thing, it ended up not being the case. Anyway, I'm going to fussy cut some butterflies. There's some from the pattern paper, the 6x8, so the small butterflies, and the normal size butterflies are from the exclusive cut aparts that we get in the kits. So that gives just that point of difference. So yes, they're butterflies, and there's going to end up a few of them, but having them in different sizes and then different angles laid on the page in the clusters means that it's nice to look at, and that it cohesively goes together rather than it all being the same. Obviously, other layouts, it's good to have them all the same size, and that just depends on what design you're going. But because we're having a little layered jauntiness on the embellishments here, using these embellishment clusters, using these butterflies, it was much better to have different sizes and different colours and look to them. But I am pulling out the pink shades because I'm still at this moment going pink. So I've dug into my stamp collection. Don't know how I managed to do that because I barely ever use my stamps. But I found these cute little butterflies, and I pulled out 2 of my pink inks. Actually, I think they're the only pink inks I have, which is fine. 2 is plenty. So I'm going to stamp them here. Now, this would have been helpful if I'd thought of it before sticking everything down. Obviously, stamping goes better without the layers being in the way, but I made it work, and just that little bit of difference and interest to the background. So on it goes, some little butterflies. I put them both together on angles. Oh my goodness, sorry, big yawn. And then I'm pulling out a love heart. This one's from the Happy Valentine's Day collection, which I brought this stamp set mostly for the hearts and the other business that's going on. And obviously not going to use the word Valentine's, but I'll probably use happy. I did fold my photo because that's how ridiculously crazy I am, because I didn't stamp before putting my photo down. It's okay. I squash it down and glue it back and it's fine. So I'm going to commit to these butterflies. We're going to love them there. We're going to work on the cluster on the right side to cover up that empty space, but also that number that's sitting out with that big bright yellowness. So on it goes. And you can see how well it's just coming together. The stamps obviously add a good pop of difference, but because they had all the things in the way, they're not very good clear stamping, but it's okay. The colour works really, isn't it? So I'm just finding something to squash down that edge of the photo, and that's going to work. My other wet glue is going to work for just a moment. And these stickers that come from that thicker sheet, so they're like chipboard foamy things. So I'm just going to chuck them there. I do pull off the glitter one and decide that's not where it needs to go. I'll find another layout for it to go, and then I'm just filling in some of the spaces. So I've got the flare up the top. I did consider that on that stamp set there's a row of hearts, so like it could be a border, and I did consider bordering the top and the bottom of the page, but then I thought I'm not going to be able to stamp it properly. It's just going to bother me. So instead I'm going to use some ripped paper and put a border on it, and I thought it's going to be so simple to put at this edge, but I like it on this edge better. So just trying to imagine if half that white was gone, and I'm going to make that happen. I do think for a minute, trying to work out how I would measure to make sure it was the right size, when actually it's really simple. So I'm going to glue, just put the thin double-sided tape on this paper and stick it to the white cardstock. Obviously there's not much room, so that's why I'm using the thin double-sided tape, because I only want it just a little bit on the edge, so it's not covering up the goodness going on in the layout. And then I'm just going to get my paper trimmer and measure it, because that was just so simple. And look, there you go, a 12 by 12 layout, and much better proportions with not so much white going on. Now I wanted something to layer on top of this pink strip. It just was too plain by itself, and I kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with papers, ones that I'd used in the 6x8 pattern paper, and I used this one, so I thought I'd use a straight edge on this one, and I glue it down, just cutting off the branding strips. So I'm going to glue it down with some double-sided tape, but then I couldn't find out it needed something else, so I continued to look, and then after I've got to cut it down, otherwise it's just the proportions are going to be out. I did wonder if it needed to have this over here, but nope, that just needed to be blank over there, not pull up, not fill my whole page just for the sake of filling it. But I am trying to work out, it's missing something on this side here, it just isn't working for me. And I find the butterfly sheet in the 12 by 12, and I'm so mean, I rip the butterflies, and look, it just works perfectly. So even at this point, this is the only time I add in the orange and the blue and the grey is on this butterfly sheet. The rest is just everything else is pink, bit of black. Or maybe is it a bit of grey, I guess, no, or is it mostly black, the outline of the butterflies? Anyway, it means then, even though it wasn't like harshly jarring to the eye to say have these colours pop in on the layout and not be anywhere else, I just thought it would be good to add a little bit of colour to the edges. So I'm gonna first, I found this flare and it looks really nice, and it's going to fill in that little blank space there. But I do find some of the hearts, no, they're not hearts, butterflies that are in the blue and the grey, and I'm trying to find my sticker sheet from the collection. I couldn't find it. Thought, oh, maybe it fell down off. I've got a little section where my light stands between my desk and my Alex drawer and whatnot, but I find it in my really useful tray. Once again, there is so much in the collection and in the kit that I couldn't find things. Anyway, I pulled out 3 of these word stickers, and I'm going to put it right down here. It's going to nestle in really nicely, have them separated so they're not just a big chunk, but it is such a nice bit to rest your eye on and have a read as you read the title. And here's where I'm just going to add those other colour butterflies. And then I'm going to add some enamel dots and then try one more thing to see if it's what's needed. So I changed that pink one because it didn't have the black, the outline and the stripes and the details. That butterfly just wasn't working for me, so I take that one off, replace it with that blue. And here's where I figure I'll add some enamel dots. I'm pretty sure I add every colour that's on the sticker on that enamel sheet, because this collection, these are the enamel dots that go with the collection. So it's nice to use them while I can, even though enamel dots are not really that hard to use. It makes it sound like it's washi, like I'm dying to finish a whole washi tape. Finishing off this layout, I realised this flare wasn't sticking, so I put some wet glue on. I don't know why it wasn't sticking. It had double-sided foam tape on it, but that's okay. That's what glue is for. And here I wanted to pull in a bit more of the grey and the black maybe, and have like a bigger title, and that was more of a focal point. And I pull out this together, which was going to be perfect, but I just couldn't get it to sit properly on the layout and work out where I wanted it to go. So instead, I don't put it on there, and I call this layout done. So thanks for joining me this week. Hope you feel inspired and get your mixed media messiness on. Catch you next time. Bye guys.